Gang, what's up, gang? What's up, Juice Bandit? What's up, Juice? Alright, so just got back from the movies. If you was watching the reading earlier, I'm gonna even tell you how I resonate with the jump from earlier. Like the cards that came out earlier today when doing the energy read was the Shadow Diver, the Fatalist, and the Intimate card. And so the Shadow Diver, I was went to the movies and I saw a part that was triggered. It triggered me and made me want to talk about some stuff. So I'm gonna talk about those triggering past hurt moments because I teared up twice, but I let one tear fall in this movie, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. Now I went to sleep on the phone with my girlfriend, fell asleep first. Oh my God, here you go again, bro. Here you go again, bro. All right, so I wrote down while I was in the movie theater, you know what I'm saying? I got down the stuff that I like. And so here's it. Here's everything. I'm about to go through this. I'm going to go through reading on this. And right now, if you plan on seeing the movie Origin by Ava DuVernay, I think that's the producer, it's based on Isabel Wilkerson's book called Cast. If you plan on watching that movie, then you might wanna, you know what I'm saying, go ahead and exit stage right, because I'm going to be I'm spoiling, I'm going to be talking about the movie, I'm giving a review, I'm reacting to the movie. So if you plan on seeing the movie, you might want to, I mean, you still might want to go see it for yourself. I do think it's a good movie. I recommend it. I'll tell you that much right now. My rating for this movie is a solid, I'm going to go 8.5 out of 10. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. That's my rating for the movie. It's an 8.5. I think if you're going to name a movie a 8, a 9, or a 10, matter of fact, I think if you're going to give a rating of a 9 or a 10, that means everybody is going to enjoy it. I don't think everybody would enjoy the movie. So I got to take off some points for that. I got my energy drink. I got the black chair. I'm a little sleepy. Got the black chair. Then it's cold outside. Oh, yeah. So the cigar I smoked yesterday, trash. I would never get it again. The surprising part about it was I like Leaf by Oscar. The Oscar Valladares company. I like their cigars. But this shit right here, this one, hold up, let me just pick the camera up. This one right here, that band right there, yeah, that one, Island Gem. Hell no, bro. I would not get that cigar again. I would not get that cigar again. I did not like that. But I also want to switch glasses. I generally like paint. Now, the best cigar they got, I think, is the Criollo. That one is tough. That one is tough. And I will say this. It's going to be some sensitive topics on this episode of Cigar Talk. It's going to be some sensitive topics. I don't know. I just felt like wearing these frames. Next. It's going to be some sensitive topics. All right? But we're going to chat. We're going to chat. Okay. Welcome to another episode of Tangential Thoughts Chat Show. I'm your chief, JaHaRaa, leader of the Kim Dynasty and the Spiritual Bandits. And on this episode of Cigar Talk, we'll be looking at reactions, spoilers, and rating for the new Ava DuVernay movie called Origin. I feel that staying up because the time's later. Come on, man. You know how the times work. You know what the times is, so you know how to make it work. Put yourself in a better position, man. Make it so that you start winning out. So she don't be the ones going to sleep. You know what I'm saying? If that's the way that's possible, but... All right. So this is a cigar I'm smoking for today. This is another Leaf by Oscar. And this is Leaf by Oscar Ciseron edition. Leaf by Oscar Ciseron edition. You know me, I'm an artist, so I do like this abstract face that they have on this band. But this is a big band. And so... Oh, snap. Hold up. Because it's like, why would they do such a big band? But apparently... Yes, sir. Okay. Damn, this shit fire. Okay. I'm rocking with it. So this is the band right here. It's not doing a good job in the light right now. But here's this band. And this one... Elmer Ciseron Bautista was born on October 9th, 1975 in Marcala del Part of La Paz in central Honduras. Okay, so apparently this cigar is named after somebody or named for somebody in remembrance of Ciceron. So this is the inside. Okay, so I think for sure, right? For sure, this is not going on the sleeve. This is not going on the sleeve, but it does deserve a space inside the book. You know what I'm saying? Because this is where I do my official, okay, it's official for me, but it's unofficial because I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I'm just, you know what I'm saying, doing my thing at this, but this is where I leave my cigar reviews and I rate all the cigars. So, I'll be adding this one. I'll be adding this to the book. I'm going to add this to the books. All right. So, I'll add that. I'll go back and read once I'm finished. I'm ready to get into the book. I'm ready to get into the movie. Is cigars better than marijuana? I've never smoked marijuana. I have had edibles like Delta 8 and with THC and, you know what I'm saying, Delta 9, Delta 10, all those. I've had mixes and strands of those, which I would say, I'm assuming, because I never had marijuana, I'm assuming that the edibles that's mixed with THC and the Delta 8 and stuff is comparable to getting high off marijuana. And so I'll say no, okay? I'll say no. Cigars don't get you high like that. They don't get you high like a marijuana, a THC, and all that other stuff. That's not what is going to happen. All right. But now I got this black and red band. So I'll add this black and red band to the jacket. I'll add this to the jacket. I'm just mad my daggone... my hands is getting cold, bro. And my candle... This candle burst the last time my daggone whatchamacallit lit on. I ain't even about to light that candle up for no fire. So I need some new candles in here. I need some new candles. All right, so this is the new cigar band that I'll be adding to the jacket. And as you can see, we're officially more than halfway done with the sleeves. So I'm hype about that. Oh, also got over 900 subscribers. So almost at 1,000 subscribers, yo. Almost at 1,000 subscribers. It's at like 934 the last time I checked. It's almost at like 930. So let's go to get this cigar cut. And then we're about to do the read. Let's go ahead and jump into this read. You just saw me cut it up there, right? And how this shit, the fucking cigar band fell in the fucking cup. My girlfriend went to go help for her money. What you mean she went to go help with her money? She went to go make some money? Who did she go help to make some money? What you talking about? Oh, her mom. She went to go help her mom. Her mommy. Now, I'm enjoying the taste of this better than I did the Island Gym. But it still ain't up there as far as like nothing crazy. So right now it's at least a 7. Not enjoying the taste of it. Yeah, so I'm chilling, watching the homie. For sure, for sure. All right, I'm about to go ahead and talk about this movie. And one of the inspirations I got, which I'll probably do it tomorrow, is to make a boxing remake, to reenact like a boxing scene. I'm gonna just find a nice little hoodie. Let's get into it. Now, the first part, let me make sure I got the timer. I'm gonna say it's around the 17-minute mark. That's when I finally get into it. Oh, not even. Because my first thing I want to talk about, because I be writing down quotes and stuff. So, you know, the first 10 to 15 minutes of a movie is going to be previews. Now, one of the happiness is continuing to desire what we already have. I really like that. He said happiness is continuing to desire what we already have, because that's one of the biggest things in his life and is where everybody's on this pursuit of happiness, and just being able to appreciate what you already have. Because it's like when you have something, it's like, you know how some people say you never know what you had until you lose it. That's the lesson that people got to learn. And so it's like, even once you get it, it's like, man, I remember I like another quote that people say, like, don't forget to thank God when you get what you prayed for. Like, you've been praying and hoping and for whatever it is, and then when you finally get it, some people just take it for granted. After hoping, wishing, and praying for whatever it is, whether it's this job, whether it's money, whether it's a house, a home, a car, whatever it is, right? A girlfriend. You sit here, you be praying for the perfect Jane, and then you get it, and then you don't take care of, you don't appreciate it. So he was like, happiness is continuing to desire what we already have. Because it's like, once you got it, fine. It's like, I've heard this one notion of people. Now, you talk to different people, but people who've been married, eating sour patches and Swedish fish. Swedish fish are nasty, but sour patch is good. Some people who've been married for a long time, they'll say that you fall out when people get married and you've been married for a long time, you fall out of love. You never stop loving that person, but you're not in love with that person. Like, you'll fall out of love with the person, and then you got to learn to re-love that person again. So this quote right there to say, happiness is continuing to desire what we already have. Now, once he says that, right, he says, happiness continues to desire what we already have. And he looks at his wife and says, have I ever had you? And this is his wife. He said, happiness is continuing to desire what we already have. He looks at his wife and says, have I ever had you? That was tough. And he said, you know what? I'll ask you again, marry me. And she's, how many times you gonna ask me to marry you? But that's dope. He's gonna, like, imagine getting married and you ask your wife every day, you gonna marry me? Like, continuing to love the person that you're with. Finding every day, continuing to, because they say love is a choice. Finding a reason to love somebody every single day, every moment, all the time. Okay. All right. Now I can say 20 minutes and 20 seconds, 2020. Let's get into the book or the movie. The movie is based off a book. So, one thing the mom says, the grandmother, she said, you can't be walking around on a white street and not expect trouble. Now, this movie does a lot of reenactments, which I think they do really well on. And one of the reenactments they do is Trayvon Martin. And they play the police tapes. So you can hear the recordings that George Zimmerman had with the police. And you can hear them say, hey, man, we don't think you should go out there and do that. And then you hear the other lady who's calling the cops and says, hey, I hear somebody screaming. And then I hear gunshots. Like, but how many gunshots was it? Just one. Like, that whole situation and shit was tragic because they reenact the boy, you know what I'm saying, going to the grocery store, getting some Skittles and an Arizona tea. And then he walking back and he on the phone with his girlfriend and it's like, yo, this car keep driving past me. And then he starts to run. She's like, man, I think you need to get out of there. And he goes start to run. And it's like, just if you try to put yourself in that mindset, in that person's shoes, like, oh shit. And that it's that always that reminder of, you never know if you're gonna make it home that night. And it's some simple shit, but you be like, damn, did not expect, that nigga didn't know that was his last day on earth. His mom didn't know that nigga was not coming back. It's shit like that. Now, in this movie, her husband and her mother died within like 5 minutes of each other. Like literally, you be sitting there watching the movie within like 5 minutes. First of all, the way her husband dies, so she's in this thing of she wants to spend more time with her mother. And they ask her, she's a writer, and they ask her like, yo, you gonna take this story, the Trayvon Martin case? She's like, no, I'm not gonna do it, this and that, boom, boom, boom. And she's like, I want to spend more time with my mom. And it's even this weird dynamic because they drop her mom off at the elderly home. Damn, I can't imagine about to die in front of my girlfriend. That shit would hurt her and it. Bro, look, yeah, okay, so you understand how tragic that shit would be. Because you be on the phone with your girlfriend every fucking day. And imagine being on the phone with her and you telling her like, yo, babe, I'm walking home right now. You know what I'm saying? And this car passed me and shit. It's like, you know how traumatized she would fucking be? That she gonna always like, yo, she has to be the last person that you fucking talk to. She's the last person that you fucking talk to, and you be like, and she gonna be mad for the rest of her fucking life. Now, it's even this weird dynamic because they put her mom in an elderly home. Now, if you also just putting yourself in perspective and understanding, let's say you have kids and your kids decide to put you in an old people home. How does that shit make you fucking feel? How would that shit make you feel? Right? And then she wants to spend more time with her mother. So she actually goes to the home to visit her mom. And now on the way back from the home, on the way back from visiting her mom, they don't even have a crazy argument, but they sitting there talking and they have a disagreement. They get home that night, that nigga dies. And they don't even really go into detail about how he dies. She comes out the bathroom and he's on the floor. And it's like, oh shit. Again, your last conversation with somebody. If you don't know what the fuck your last conversation is going to be, and you never know how it's going to go, when your last time with this person is going to be, she comes out the bathroom, this nigga's on the floor. And then within 5 minutes of that nigga dying, they show her mom in the hospital bed. She's done too. So it's like them niggas die within the same year. I don't know if it is, but in the movie it's like within 5 minutes. It's like, damn, back to back. And she didn't know her mom was about to die. It just happened. And she didn't know that nigga was about to die. So I'm gonna jump a little bit for later on in the movie. Because later on in the movie, one thing they do is like they'll start something and then they'll come back and finish it later. So that nigga dies, and then later on she comes back. So he dies, right? And she starts reminiscing later in the movie. She reminisces back to how he died. And she says, we had a fight that night. And he tried to apologize. by offering to eat pasta with her. And she said, no, she said, save me some. And she goes upstairs to go in the bath to take a shower and whatnot. And the next time she fucking sees him, he's on the fucking floor. That shit is fucking tough. And because they didn't have a big argument, but they had a slight little disagreement. And even when they got home, he tried to offer to apologize by offering her some fucking food and pasta. And what did she say? She turned it down and said no. Do you know how much that would plague your mind? That her husband tried to apologize to. And he wanted to sit down and eat with her. He said, you want to have some of that pasta? It's not there. She says, save me some, and goes upstairs. That's tragic, bro. And so, this also reminded me of something that I know y'all come at Jada Pinkett for a lot of different stuff, but I remember Jada said something, and she says, when you love somebody, they're going to break your heart. They're going to break your heart. And even if it's not, even if it isn't from heartbreak, betrayal, lying, deceit, and cheating on you, if let's say you marry somebody, right, and you love this person, somebody's going to die first. Somebody's going to die first. And that instance right there, that moment reminded me of that. Of that right there. Because then as you start to go further, actually, and it's like now she has triggers, right? Now she has triggers from small shit. Like, and she's reminisced on memories. Because there's one part in the movie, he drops her off at the airport. And he's like, have a safe trip and da-da-da. Now when she goes to the airport, he's not the one dropping her off. But what is she memorizing? Him dropping her off, always dropping her off at the airport, have a safe trip, and this and that third. So now she has triggers. So already, this cigar is better than the one from yesterday. Already, you see that white ash. Yesterday, that ash was black. But I'm gonna go ahead and tap it real quick, cause I don't need that joint just falling. So I wrote that down, just how once you go through a certain experience, small instances of things that people say, just going to certain places, become triggering because of who you last dealt with. Now, and it was triggering because she had her husband, and she don't got no bad memories of this nigga. She got all good memories, you know what I'm saying, from the movie perspective. But let's say that you had somebody that you actually had an actual falling out with on bad terms. You don't even be wanting nothing to remind you of them. You'll hear a song and be like, oh, this song remind me of this person. And I actually like this song, but I hate this person. And cause it's also like later in this movie, her cousin dies as well. Her cousin dies as well. And it be triggering because she's sitting there looking at her cousin coughing shit. And you be like, I was like, yep. I was like, her cousin gonna die. I was like, yep. She watch her cousin cough and she look at her and you like, yep, cousin about to die. All right, next. Another thing I wrote down was a writer's journey. And the reason I wrote that down is because I always hear, and I'm pretty sure everybody, some other people I've heard of an artist journey, an artist going down this path. But even when I'm doing my tarot card readings, the poet lumps those two together, the artist and the poet. And I just never heard somebody say a writer's journey. So it'd be curious to see what a writer's journey is like. Because I think at some point I got to sit down, because I'm writing another part to my book, and I got to sit down and write about my artist journey that I had over the past few months. Like, I have to reflect on that as well. Like, what did I learn from going down this path on my artist journey? And then also with the artist journey, because I done published 2 books this month, you know what I'm saying? So going down this whole path of I'll just say, I'll make it generic, a creator's journey. Next. Oh, now they go back and forth. Like, they do flashbacks of things back in time, and then they bring it back. So it's a Black couple, they're in Germany, and they're looking for a book from an author named Erich Maria Remarque. And what you come to find out is that in Germany, they're burning books. And Remarque is one of those authors whose books is burned and affected by this, because I think they might have been Jewish. And so one of the quotes says, wherever they burn books, in the end, they will also burn human beings. Heinrich Heine. And I've never understood this. For example, the Library of Alexandria was burned down. And I do not understand. And now, I was just having this conversation, you know what I'm saying, with my God family, and they were saying, that it's just evil and it's cruel, like they're just trying to erase history. And it's like, even if it was me, right, I would not have burnt down, because it's like the Library of Alexandria has old information, knowledge, and truth that will never get back, right? If anything, I would have took that away and hid it somewhere. But the fact that shit got burnt down, there's so much truth, knowledge, information that you'll just never get. Because that shit was burnt down. And I don't like that. Like, because I like information, I like truth, I like knowledge. And we'll never have that, yo. But Library of Alexandria was burned down. And when you go look into this, it has connections to Egypt. But I think it was supposed to be an accident. I think it was an accident. I think, from what I remember, and I could totally be wrong, but I think that had something to do with Julius Caesar's time as well. All right, now this movie is based off a book called Cast by Isabel Wilkerson. And now, so she has to go on this journey, and she got to start talking to a lot of different people. And so she's talking to Jewish people, right, in Germany. And, people like to compare their problems. And so the Jewish one, of course, is saying, yeah, I know blacks had it a certain way, but you can't compare that to the Jewish people. And this was the Jewish lady's take on it. She said, Black people were victim to subjugation, like just being put under control. Jewish people were victim to extermination. Slight little tidbit, in fact, that they say that there's 3 years for showing a swastika in Germany. Like, you just can't do that. You can't throw that up. That flag, that symbol, that's 3 years in jail. And then so when she says, you know, in America, we got the Confederate flag, there's no consequence for that shit. Niggas will still have that Confederate flag. And it's a part of one of the states, Mississippi, I think she said, Mississippi's flag. So a question I wanted to pose to people was, which is worse? Extermination, which is what they say was they're trying to eliminate them, or subjugation, which is the slavery part, right? Now, what she says is, because the lady says 6 million Jews were killed, da-da-da. So, this is what she hits her back with. She says, because that, now mind you, that was a rapid 6 million for that time period. That was rapid. That's what people get hung up on. 6 million in that short period of time, because that's World War II, and that's like between that's World War II, so that's 1940s, 45, right? 41 to 45. She hit her back and say, well, slavery was 246 years, followed by another 100 years of Jim Crow laws, and then another little slight tidbit, in fact, that we didn't know until we watched the movie, was that they learned the blueprint for this shit. They looked at America's way, the way America had slavery set up. That's how they set up how they was going to legalize what they were about to do in Germany. But she hit it with this: 246 years of slavery, plus another 100-year Jim Crow laws. That's 13 generations. And she said, you have a number. We don't have a number. There is no number. So, that, like, what are you really trying to say here? Trying to and because she wants to compare her problems and say that this is bigger or it was greater. So that's just conversation to have, right? Just conversation. Another thing she says, she says a quote attributed to Toni Morrison, apparently, but I couldn't find, I was looking for it, for the actual word. She says, why would you give your children to be raised by an inferior race? Because during slavery times, you know what I'm saying, the white people had the blacks, you know what I'm saying, raising their children and shit, and helping them raise their children and shit. Is like, so are they really that inferior? She said, but it's not that. They just mask, you know what I'm saying, they mask it behind this regime and that they're putting in place. Now, because she wants to also say that, because it's not racist, it's caste. And that was her big distinction. It's not racist, it's caste. It's putting, because in Germany it's just a separation of German people. She's like, but you can go to India and it's the same thing. She said these people still exist to this day. It's called the Dalit people. She said the Dalit people have to clean shit with their own hands. Like, they actually have to clean the sewage and poop with their own bodies and hands. Like, they have to do that. And she said it was so bad that they got to walk around with brooms attached to their back, because the folklore is that their shadow is pollution. So they got to sweep. It's like sweeping their shadow. It's like, that's some like niggas really bought into this somehow. But she said that shit exists to this day. Because their shadows is pollution. Then she's like, they also have cage statues of some man. Forgive me because I don't really forget. But there's cage statues. And she's like, why is there statues inside of a cage? And he's like, these statues are all over the country, but people will vandalize and take it down. So it has to be caged to keep it from protection. It's like, but you gotta think, like, thousands of years from now, they could be looking like, we see all these statues of this person. They're gonna think this person was a god or something. Now, just another little saying in conversation that I wrote down was, is this family having a conversation over lasagna, and she says, what did she say to him? He said, man, you're gonna have to come by more often. Cause we don't have lasagna, so we can have lasagna more often. She be hiding the lasagna. When you come around, we got lasagna on the menu. We have lasagna for dinner. So she say that. But then the wife say, you lying too close to Sunday. Like, then that's just a phrase that's just saying like, you lying and it's about to be the Lord's day. You lying too close to Sunday. So I like that. I just like that saying. I'm gonna use that in conversation one day. Now, this lady that they're having dinner with, she's having dinner with this time, she goes to her story and she was like, she got in trouble by the principal and he said, what's your name? And she was like, Miss Hale. He said, what's your first name? And he said, no, what's your name? She said, Miss. He said, stop playing me. What's your name? She said, Miss. And it keeps going further, and then they have to go to the books in the school to look at her stuff, pull up her records, and her first name is Miss. I like that. I like that her first name is Miss. Because I'm pretty sure I've seen it somewhere somehow, a boy named Mister. But I never thought to name my daughter Miss or just having a girl named Miss. Now, the other part that sticks out to me about this part was because my last name is Hale as well. My last name is Hale. And so when it was like Miss Hale, I was like, oh, snap. That's what's up. That was different. Her name was Miss. Her first name was Miss. I really like that. M-I-S-S. Her first name was Miss. I don't know why I like that so much, but I like it. Because she's also talking within her story, and she talks about having a walkie-talkie, and this was before cell phone days. So the walkie-talkie was like the first cell phone. That was cool. Just think about that, right? Niggas was walking around with walkie-talkies and shit. But then the principal said, where you from? And she was like, Alabama. He's like, I know you're not from around here. He's like, you know how I know you're not from around here? Cause you look at me dead in my eye, and colored people know not to do that. And that's how he knew that she wasn't from around here. He's like, you look at me in my eye, and colored people know not to do that. And that was her first experience with what we would say is like racism. Now, she says this other part, and I didn't really understand this, but I wrote it down because it caught my attention, but I didn't understand the phrasing of it. She says, they don't have a corner in humanity. They don't have a corner on humanity. They don't have a corner on femininity. They don't have a corner on being an honorable person. And I didn't understand what that meant. They don't have a corner on this. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you hear a phrase. Now, in conversation, I understand it, but I didn't understand, like, how does that make sense? They don't have a corner on truth. They don't have a corner on this. So somebody can help me understand where that phrase kind of even makes sense, but feel free to leave a comment for that. Then these last ones is just random little tidbits. Just like, because I might go look at it later, or if somebody can drop it in the comments and give me some information about it. It's like, because they mentioned the Baraku people, and it's like certain names, certain names or sounds really just attract your attention for some reason. Like Baraku, because Barack Obama. But Baraka, you see that a lot. And so like it's that origin and that meaning, like where does that come from? Just that connection of words right there. Roma, and now the Roma people I've heard about because I watch Peaky Blinders and they mention the Roma people as well. And she said you can't really dehumanize one person, an individual sitting in front of you having a conversation with, is you can't really dehumanize that person and strip them of their identity. But if you take out a whole race, you can take out a whole group of people and make them and turn them into a nameless, faceless scapegoat. And because she starts to look at pillars, and she said these are pillars of establishing a caste, and one of them is doing that, finding a way to, really ostracize and separate. Because she was like, it's not about race, because it can happen within it can happen within a race. Like in the Germans, in India, like it can just happen within it, and they just separate this class of people somehow. Endogamy is where you restrict marriage or mating. So it's like in there they couldn't fraternize with the Jews, you know what I'm saying, or just saying, oh, you can't mate and interact with these people. You can't, like, the blacks can't interrace with the whites, but somehow, some way, eventually you mix people. So. But But the way this is spelled, it Ndogamy. So I keep wanting to say but it's endogamy. The last story was about a guy named Al Bright, which he was just a few days missing of actually interviewing. But he had a crazy story. Like he was playing on a little league baseball team, and they go to the pool, and it's about making whatever the race when you just try to classify somebody as inferior, making them seem just dirty and polluted. And so they was like, well, we can't allow the little boys on the team. He's a black boy on a white baseball team, little league baseball team. And they go to celebrate at the pool, and they don't allow him in the pool because it was like, if we let him in the pool, he gonna dirty up the whole pool, and this and that. You know how long it's gonna take for us to clean it from him getting into the pool. And then they let him. There's like all the little boys don't understand it, so they want him to come onto the jank. And then he's like, they want him to come into the pool. So then they're like, they put him on a float and said, you better not touch this water. You better not touch this water. And so the guy, the little lifeguard or whatever, puts him on the float. Well, doesn't put him on the float. He lets him step onto the float. And so he's just laying on the float by himself. And the lifeguard pulls the float down and back. And the whole time like, you better not touch his fucking water. And the boy's just sitting laying there still on the float, and everybody's just sitting there watching him. You know how dehumanizing that is. And the other thing I liked about that, how I can kind of connect with that person, was he was an artist and an educator, which I was an educator and I am an artist. So I really resonated with that. So those are two parts of the book, the movie that I connected with. The Hales, because my last name is Hale. And that lady telling her story, Miss Hale. And then this last guy, how he was an artist and an educator, and I'm an artist and an educator, so that was dope. And then the other little tidbit about that whole thing was her mom, when she dropped her mom off at the elderly home. Hey, this ain't lasting. When she dropped her mom off at that elderly home, her mom was like, hey, do you see him in the clouds? The little boys, the little league boys jumping into the pool, celebrating the 23rd. And she thought, her mom is just growing old and senile, right? And then she finds the article, because she's cleaning up the house, and she finds this article, and then she's like, damn, my mom was talking about this. And so one of her last little things that I liked in the movie, she was like, we're like homeowners. And no, I wasn't around when this house was built, but it's up to me to maintain it and to fix it up. And she's talking about like earth and life. Like, no, we wasn't here when all of this shit went down and certain things happened. Like, we wasn't there when it went to experience slavery. We wasn't there for the Holocaust. We wasn't around for certain shit, but we're living in the shadows. We're living in the remnants of this. We inhabit this earth together. We inhabit this home. We inherited this home, and it's up to us to fix it. That was one of her messages. So the movie actually has limited distribution, so everybody's not gonna be able to watch it. It's only in select theaters. And so that's another reason I said that, if you give the movie a rating, and it's just not even like hating or nothing, but if I'm me personally rating the movie, I'm going to give it an 8.5. I do think most people would sit down and be able to enjoy it. It is scholarly, at the same time it's informational. You're gonna learn something from it. I told you, I let one tear fall. You know what I'm saying? Because it does it. I think it does a great job of reenacting. I think some little parts, because I'm an artist as well, and so I look at certain stuff, and I think certain parts, like just the acting for it, or the acting could have been cleaned up here or there, and like certain cinematic points. Like, they say that some people like the part where she jumped across the bed when her husband was laying on the floor. That part was a little off to me. It was a little off-putting. I think that it could have just been shot it could have been a little smoother. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that could have been a little smoother. You know what I'm saying? But that was just, I knocked it for that scene. You know what I'm saying? But other people like it. But do I think? But it's so they said it got limited distribution. Now it can't, but that's my thing about movies though. You know what I'm saying? If you can get a movie that anybody, like a movie that's a 10 out of 10 is, you can sit down and have anybody watch his movie and they're going to like it and they're going to enjoy it. But I think it was a really great movie. I would highly encourage anybody to watch it, though. It's educational. It breaks stuff down, and there's a lot of parts that you can connect to, and boom. But you know, I don't think that it's necessarily going to cater to a white audience. And so, some, yes. I'm not saying none. I'm saying yeah, some people, but it's just I think overall and in general, I don't know if they would just sit down and just watch it, because that's again, like if you just for lack of a better word, and it's not even like, but like if you just bashing white people, like it's like for them, you know what I'm saying? If you just trying to look on the other side, like another movie about this, you know what I'm saying? It's like that, but it's like when shit be happening. I don't know. I hope that kind of like ties it all together, but because I don't want my emphasis to be able to be like, yo, that the movie has no place, or like again, I'm giving it a very good rating. I think it's really good, but and because I would even have a movie that would, you know what I'm saying, when I make my own movies, I would even have a movie that's probably, I would have a movie that's going to cater to everybody would sit down and watch this, but it's just certain movies that I just don't think would cater to everybody. So, but that's hard though. That's anything in it. That's anything in life though. Any movie, any book is not, well, you know what I'm saying? That's what you want to study too. Having a book or a movie that anybody can connect to somehow, some way. So as a shameless plug, I'm gonna throw my book in there. Because her book was number one. Her book was number one. It was number two. Then it went for number one for a long time because it also followed up right behind the murder of George Floyd. And then this right here with this movie coming out, it's about to jump back up again in sales. I don't think I'm going to go read that book, but I'm going to shameless plug. I'm going to throw my book out there. Tangential Thoughts is a guided journal that you can purchase on Amazon. And I'm willing for anybody to give me some reviews. You know what I'm saying? So far, I've got all 5-star reviews so far. So somebody go watch, you know what I'm saying? Check out my book and give me an honest review and rating on the shit. But this has been another episode of Tangential Thoughts and another segment of Cigar Talk. Let me know your thoughts, your reactions to the movie as well.